He knew something was wrong the moment he saw the way she looked at his daughter instead of him. It wasn't a glance of admiration or polite curiosity. It was something deeper. Something searching. And in that single second, as sunlight streamed through the café windows and laughter floated between tables, Arman Qureshi felt the fragile hope he had carefully rebuilt over 3 years begin to tremble. If you believe in kindness and second chances, take a moment right now to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, Whispertales 3. Stories like this remind us that even broken hearts can find light again. It had been 3 years since Arman's wife passed away in a sudden accident that turned a bright summer afternoon into a lifetime of quiet grief. Since then, his world had revolved around one person, his 6-year-old daughter, Meher. Every morning, he braided her hair with clumsy fingers while sunlight poured through their small apartment kitchen. Every afternoon, he waited outside her school gate, pretending not to worry when she ran a little too fast or climbed a little too high. Every night, he read her the same storybook because she said it made her feel safe. Arman had learned to live in fragments of joy stitched together by responsibility. Dating had never been part of his plan. Not because he didn't feel lonely, but because loneliness had become familiar, almost comfortable. Friends encouraged him to move on, as if grief were a train station and he had simply missed his departure. But it wasn't until Meher asked one evening, in her soft serious voice, whether other children also had only one parent, that he realized he couldn't let his fear of moving forward define their future. That was when he met Sana Mirza. They connected through a community book club, exchanging thoughtful messages about novels neither had finished. Sana seemed warm, intelligent, and patient. She worked in child psychology, which Arman found reassuring. She asked about Meher with genuine interest, never in a way that felt intrusive. When she suggested they meet for coffee on a bright Saturday morning at an open-air café near the park, Arman hesitated only for a moment before agreeing. The day felt almost symbolic. The sky was wide and clear, the kind of blue that made the world seem forgiving. Arman wore a simple white shirt Meher had insisted made him look less tired. He arrived early, palms damp with nerves he hadn't felt in years. Sana appeared moments later, sunlight catching in her hair, her smile steady and unforced. Their conversation flowed easily. They spoke about books, about teaching children resilience, about how grief reshapes people in quiet ways. Arman found himself laughing without effort, something he hadn't done with a stranger in a long time. Halfway through their coffee, Meher ran toward them from the nearby playground where Arman's sister had been watching her. She had insisted on meeting the new friend, her curiosity too big to contain. Arman felt his chest tighten with protective instinct as Meher approached, but Sana crouched gently to her level, her expression soft and attentive. She didn't overwhelm her with questions. She simply listened as Meher described the butterfly she had tried to catch and the drawing she had made at school. It felt perfect. Almost too perfect. After Meher returned to the swings, Arman noticed a shift. Sana's eyes lingered on the child longer than before. There was something unreadable in her gaze. When she turned back to him, her smile had grown faintly strained. They parted that afternoon with a promise to talk again. Arman walked home feeling lighter than he had in years. He imagined what it might be like to have someone share the small daily victories and quiet fears. He allowed himself, cautiously, to hope. But that evening, his phone buzzed with a message from Sana asking if they could meet again the next day. Something about her tone felt urgent. They met in the same café, though the sunlight felt different, harsher, almost exposing. Sana didn't waste time with pleasantries. She explained that she had recognized Meher's last name immediately. She had once worked closely with Arman's late wife, Hiba, during a school mental health initiative. Hiba had spoken about her daughter often, about her fears of leaving her too soon because of a medical condition she kept private. Sana confessed that she hadn't come to the date by coincidence. When she saw Arman's name in the book club registry, she had suspected the connection and had wanted to see for herself. The words landed slowly, like stones sinking in water. Sana admitted that part of her reason for meeting him had been professional concern. She had known about Hiba's anxiety regarding Meher's emotional well-being and had always wondered what became of the family after the accident. She had convinced herself that arranging a meeting under the guise of a date was the easiest way to check on the child without reopening old wounds directly. Arman felt heat rise to his face, not anger exactly, but a profound sense of vulnerability. The perfect afternoon suddenly felt orchestrated, fragile. He wondered if the laughter had been real or simply polite observation. He wondered if his hope had been naive. Sana's voice trembled as she explained further. What began as curiosity had shifted the moment she saw Meher's bright, resilient spirit and Arman's quiet devotion. She realized she had stepped into something deeply personal under false pretenses. She apologized, not as a professional, but as a woman who had misjudged her own intentions. She admitted that during their conversation, she had stopped analyzing and simply started feeling. Arman sat in silence for a long moment, watching children chase pigeons across the sunlit pavement. He thought about how fiercely he had guarded his daughter's world. He thought about the loneliness he had hidden behind routines. And he thought about how easy it would be to walk away to protect himself from further hurt. But he also remembered how Sana had listened to Meher, how she had crouched to her level without hesitation, how her eyes had softened not with assessment but with care. Trust, he realized, was not about perfect beginnings. It was about honest continuations. He told Sana that what hurt was not her initial motive, but the secrecy. He told her that if she wanted to be part of their lives, it had to begin with truth from this moment forward. No hidden reasons. No professional observation. Just two adults navigating uncertainty with sincerity. Sana nodded, tears bright in the midday light. She promised transparency, not as a therapist, but as someone willing to earn her place honestly. In the weeks that followed, there were no grand romantic gestures. There were simple afternoons at the park, shared lunches, and conversations about boundaries. Sana respected Arman's pace. She never tried to replace what was lost. Instead, she stood beside them, allowing space for memories and new beginnings to coexist. One afternoon, as Arman watched Meher teach Sana how to draw butterflies with uneven wings, he felt something unfamiliar settle in his chest. It wasn't the reckless excitement of new love. It was steadier than that. It was trust being rebuilt brick by brick under the open daylight. Sometimes, the reason someone enters your life isn't pure at the start. Sometimes it's complicated, even flawed. But what matters is the choice they make once they're inside your world. Before this story ends, I want to make a special request. Comment the word hope if you believe that even imperfect beginnings can lead to beautiful futures. And if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that healing takes courage and second chances require honesty, please like, share, and engage with the video. Your support keeps these stories alive and spreading light. As the sun dipped gently over the park that evening, Arman realized something profound. The date hadn't been perfect. The truth had hurt. But sometimes, daylight reveals what darkness hides. And in that honest light, he saw not a mistake, but the possibility of a new chapter, one written not by coincidence, but by choice.